Right now, Hamza is doing something very intelligent with his company. And in this video, I'm going to explain how you can learn from Hamza's business model and what he's been doing recently with his company, how I also do the same, and how that makes me $500,000 per month. It's probably one of the best client acquisition strategies that you can follow. And it underpins the entirety of Hamza's strategy right now. And I want to break it down because it's an important lesson in business. And if you can build what Hamza has built into your business, then you'll be very successful. I'm not going to talk about YouTube organic and say that's how Hamza's growing his company, because the truth is that it's not. That's one of his main sources of traffic. But the underlying mental model that he's using, whether he knows it or not, is very intelligent. And in this video, I'm going to break it down from a business perspective. Let's get into it. All right. So since yesterday, something's changed about Hamza's channel. I'm still going to make the video because I think it still makes sense to make it, but it might not make as much sense, and Hamza's removed some of the stuff that he was using, and I think I know why, but we'll explain it. So before we get into the mental model, or part of the mental model with the letter F, in order for you to create something that exponentially grows on itself with very little effort from you, you need to have something called positive feedback, right? So you want to create something in your business called positive feedback. Now, positive feedback is a mental model from systems thinking. If you want to understand how it works in more detail, you can read Thinking in Systems by Donella Meadows. But it's a very simple premise. What it means is that a cause creates an effect, right? So what we're looking at here, because this is how the whole world works, is it's cause and effect. You have a cause, right? So a cause means something happens or something is put into motion by something. For example, if I pick my phone up here and I relax the tendons in my fingers, the phone drops, right? The cause is the relaxing of the tendons. The effect is the phone dropping, right? What you want to do, right, in your company is you want to have causes that create effects you want, right? So for example, let's say you want clients, right? You need to do things that help you get clients. So you put causes into motion to get effects. True power and true exponential growth and scale comes from positive feedback. And positive feedback is not only when cause creates effect, but when effect creates more of the cause that created the effect in the first place. So this is called a positive feedback loop. Now this can work in the one direction or another. You can have positive feedback loops or you can have negative feedback loops. A negative feedback loop could be, let's take your brain, your mind, for example. Let's take, for example, mental health, and let's take stress, right? Let's say that, you have something in your life right now. Let's say you haven't got enough money, and then let's say that this is making you stressed. A negative feedback loop, well, actually, technically it's a positive feedback loop, but it's in a negative way. Basically, feedback loops, the sentiment of them can be positive or negative, but you kind of get the point. So let's just take this for example. So money. The less money you have, the more stressed you might be about not having money. The more stressed you are about not having money, the less money you may have, because depending on how the stress affects you, maybe it cripples you and you're so burned out from the stress and your cortisol glands are so burned out that when you do a sales call, you shit yourself, right? So this is an example of a feedback loop where, the more money you have, the less money you have, the more stress you have, right? The more stress you have, the less money you have, the less money you have, and then it's just cycles and cycles and cycles. And so personally, that's how it works. But for a business perspective, let's explore how Hamza uses this. So this in business is something you want to create called a flywheel. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through how Hamza uses this. Right, I'm going to walk you how I use it, and I'm going to walk you through how Amazon uses it. So you've got 3 different examples, and if you want your business to be successful, you need to implement one of these. So Hamza's content, as you can see, I've watched a few of the videos. This is the video that I'm talking about in reference. Now, there were a couple more in here. So Hamza's business, from my understanding, is it's Adonis Academy, and he helps people with life coaching, right? Or how to become a better man, right? Which is fucking cool. Hamza uploaded a bunch of these videos, basically of his live coaching calls in Adonis Academy. Now, here's the thing. I do know that he has actually uploaded a few of these other ones and since removed them, and I'm guessing that's because members of his community are less willing to share on these calls if they know that the calls are going to be seen by thousands of people, right? Because if you've got a problem, there was another one I think about some kids making fun of this guy in school because he was on self-improvement, and then that guy was explaining it to Hamza. It's quite a vulnerable conversation. It's uploaded, hundreds of thousands of people see it. That can create a problem, right? So I don't know how Hamza is going to tackle this moving forward, but either way, it's still a viable strategy for growth, and we're going to look past that sentiment to get to the bottom of how it works. So let's take this video, for example. So let me give you some context. So Hamza's channel works on the premise that he needs to create valuable content that solves a problem for someone. And here's the great thing. People buy, right, Adonis Academy. So they buy Adonis. And when people buy Adonis, it's going to be like a 3-piece flywheel loop. they ask questions. So they join the calls and they ask questions. Those questions create value, and that value creates content. That content is then posted to YouTube and more people buy Adonis. This is fucking genius. There's another example of someone on TikTok that does this. There's a guy on TikTok, I can't remember his name, but this guy who does, there's a TikTok organic masterclass in our program with a guy called Ashley Wright, and he explained to me that there's a guy who books live speaking gigs through TikTok, like self-improvement speaking gigs. And then what he does is his TikTok content becomes the speaking gigs. So he'll do TikTok content. So this is how it works for this guy, is he makes content, right? And from that content, he books speaking events. And from that speaking events, he gets more content. And so this is the new meta, or the new playbook for these online content-based businesses, where your content, like if you sell information, or if you sell consulting, or if you sell help, essentially in the form of content or written, or like if it's verbal, if it's verbal or written word, you can use it as content, right? Hamza's, for example, is verbal because he's doing the videos. So people buy Adonis. From that, people ask questions. From that, value is created, because value is created when pain is alleviated, and pain is exposed when questions are asked. And so Hamza can alleviate someone's pain. And the great thing about this is the people who ask these questions, when Hamza answers them, he adds value to them. And Hamza wants more people like this to see the link to Adonis Academy, because the more people like this that see the link, the more people are going to resonate, the more people that buy. The more people that buy, right, the more questions get asked, the more value is created, the more content is created, the more people that buy. And so Hamza's got this loop in his business right now. It's called, it's an acquisition flywheel, where what you do becomes your marketing, which becomes what you do. And it just repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. And it's fucking brilliant. So how do I use this in my business? So I basically teach people client acquisition, right? So I'll show you what this looks like. So we have a product called Easy Grow, which teaches agency owners, coaching consultants how to acquire clients. And inside of Easy Grow, I can give you an example here. We've got 17 different systems for client acquisition. I'm not trying to plug something here. There is a link to buy this in the description or book a call for it, but that's not the intention. It's to show you how this flywheel thing works. I know it seems indirect, and truth be told, maybe I'm bringing it up unconsciously because I want your money. Regardless, let's explore it. So for example, if you look at the outbound systems, we've got, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 6, 7 different systems for outbound, 5 or 6 for inbound, a bunch for paid. The way our flywheel works, right, is we teach acquisition. We teach people how to acquire clients. In order for me to teach people how to acquire clients, I have to acquire clients. So my acquisition, right? And then that feeds back. So when I teach someone how to acquire, like when I acquire a client, that gives me knowledge on how to teach people how to acquire clients. So I have this feedback loop for my acquisition, but I also have it for my community. So it works for my client acquisition, right? But it also works specifically for my community. So what this looks like, right? That doesn't look like word community, but you get the point. So I basically, I'm in the process of decentralizing my product away from myself, because I am one person with one mind, with one paradigm, with one set of skills, and I've got 500 people in my community all trying to solve the same problem. Sometimes they find shit that works. And so the flywheel in my community, we've got strategies in the community, right? And then we have new strategies that come up, and then they develop into more strategies. And so like, for example, if I look at, let's go into, I'll give you an example of this. So we're going to paid systems here. We've got like YouTube ads, we've got Facebook ads. If I go into inbound systems, we've got organic YouTube system. And like, for example, recently we had a TikTok organic masterclass, and we pay for clients to come in and record masterclasses on what works for them. And then the more that we pay people to do that, and the more people we get to do that, the more people that want to do it. And so people go out and find their own strategies, and they come back and then we pay them, and they introduce them to the program, which means that we had another strategy, and people see us doing that, so they add more and more and more and more and more. And so right now, our business, I think we've got 2 more modules underway, currently being recorded on client acquisition for different processes, different systems. No doubt, like right now, I think we've got like 17 or 18 different systems. It just flywheels, because people are like, oh, where are these strategies coming from? And we're like, well, if you find something that works, we pay you to record it. And then someone's like, oh, I have this thing, or I have this thing, or I tried this and this worked. And then we're like, okay, well, we'll test it. And if it works, then we'll introduce it. And so it just, the product, like your product improvement just needs to be a constant flywheel of new things. And then last but not least, we'll look at Amazon and how Amazon does it, right? So Amazon basically optimizes for 3 things: the lowest prices, biggest selection, and then fastest shipping times, right? Fastest shipping, widest selection, lowest prices. And this all feeds back on itself, because let's go into this, right? So the lower the prices, right, the more customers, the more people are attracted to the site. The more people are attracted, the more products they can sell. The more products they can sell, the more money they make, the more they can tackle the shipping problem. The more they can tackle the shipping problem, the lower the prices can be. And so these things are fucking devastating. They are so powerful. If you look at, like, I'll give you another example. You look at Facebook, right? So you get someone that joins the platform, and then when someone joins the platform, they get data. And then they use that data to get more people to join. All of these companies, they really know what they're doing with this. And it's the same thing with money. Like, it takes money to make money, for example, but it takes data to get data. And it's the same thing with client acquisition, where the more you try, the more data you accumulate, the more data you can get, the more data you can get. It flywheels and flywheels and flywheels. Now, I don't know if Hamza's strategy will change, but here you've got 162,000 people similar to this dude here, and Hamza's solving this problem. And so off the back of this, I don't know what his click-through rate's going to be. I see what he's done. It's going to Hamza Unfiltered. So it's going to a different channel. But either way, like, the principle applies. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. He hasn't uploaded anything on here, but I don't know what his traffic strategy is here. But either way, the principle stays the same, and it fucking works. When you can, and if you wonder how, like, so for example, with my company, with Imperium Acquisition, we went from 0 to about $500,000 a month in the best part of 2 years. So from 0 to like 6 mil a year, basically like 5 mil profit over the course of like a 24-month period with, like, 75% profit margins. That's unheard of. People don't do that very often. The reason that we were able to do it is because we have this flywheel. YouTube organic, for example, is a flywheel. The more subscribers you get, the more subscribers you get. It's very simple. Right? The more clients you get, the better the product. This is like, for most businesses, the more people that join the product, the worse the experience becomes for everyone. But with our model, with the way we've structured our community, the more people that join, the better the experience gets for everyone. And so let's summarize it in one phrase. In order for your business to take advantage of this flywheel, it needs to operate on one premise. If you add one customer, then the net positive experience for everyone is +1. So every time you add a customer, everyone else's life is slightly improved in your community or in your client base. That is how it must be structured. And that's how we structure ours, okay? Because if for every client you add, it's a -1 in terms of experience, then once you've added like a bunch of clients, you're going to lose a bunch of clients, okay? So that's how the flywheel thing works. That's what I've been observing Hamza doing. It's what a bunch of people do, even if they know it or not, but it's a very good model. Someone buys Adonis Academy, they join the call, they ask a question. The question denotes value, and like, it also gives Hamza video ideas, for example. And then those video ideas are going to hit the nail on the head, because they become content people want to watch because it's being uprooted by someone's psychology, which means that more people buy Adonis. Fucking brilliant. All right. So if you enjoyed this video, you can like and comment and subscribe. In fact, if you subscribe, it would mean a lot to me. You don't have to. I don't really care. If you do want help getting clients, and you run an agency or a coaching business and you're struggling with acquisition, just click the first link in the description. Hamza, if you see this and you want our program, hit me up, mate. I'll give it to you for free. Love you all.